Welcome in, One Nation, to another episode of the Hive Podcast. I'm your host, TJ Winger. Today, joined by men's golf team member Eddie Coffren. Eddie, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, Eddie, you've been dominating early on. We're gonna put it right out there. 2 ODAC Golfer of the Week awards. What does it mean to you to be highlighted early on in your playing career by the conference as someone who's standing out?
It's a good achievement to have, especially as a freshman. I've never expected this to happen to me in my first 2 tournaments, but I plan on not to stop and keep on going and probably win a couple tournaments here and there.
So, talking about you being a freshman, and these are your first 2 tournaments, gotten out to a hot start to say the least. Mm-hmm. What are some of those challenges that you've noticed, maybe between what you experienced in high school versus what you're seeing now at the college ranks?
Seeing it now, people in high school, I didn't get as much notice as I did now, and it's kind of a little new to me, but it just tells me, in my head, I just got to keep on working at it, and it just doesn't tell me I can't let off the gas at all. I got to keep, going at it and getting better and better every day. And it's a lot of pressure, especially people saying to me, in the hallways, "Oh, Eddie Coffren, ODAC Player of the Week, there he is," and I'm like, oh God. I'm nervous that I might, the pressure's on me now. People see me as good golfer, and they probably want me to do better things. So
yeah, and the pressure is good and bad. The awards are good and bad at that point. Mm-hmm. But yeah, how has that transition gone? You're in your first semester here, mm-hmm. So on the academic and social side of it, how are you feeling? Are you settling in here at the University of Lynchburg?
Yeah, I'm settling. Everybody here is so friendly, especially the professors. All the professors are pretty nice. They're catching on to it as well. They follow me. They're like, "Oh, I see you're going to be gone for this week for a tournament. Good luck this week." I'm like, "Thank you." So they've been keeping track of that. And then also all the students, they've been keeping track of Lynchburg sports, so they've been seeing how I've been doing. So
that's awesome. That's what we like to hear. Somebody who helps maintain that. That is music to my ears. That's awesome. So you're actually the second consecutive golfer we've had on the Hive Podcast. Emily Brubaker last week. You're on this episode. And one of the things I asked her, as someone who golfs, what I'm thinking in my head is not something I can say on a podcast while I, send a ball into the tree line, I'm stuck in another bunker, whatever the case may be. What are some of the things you're keeping track of as you go swing by swing and hole by hole?
Mainly I keep track of me just committing to a shot, not laying off or not trying to be fancy with my swing or trying to hit a massive draw or a massive slice. I just imagine a shot and I commit to it. If I don't commit to it, bad things will happen, but that's just my main focus around the course is committing. Sometimes I don't worry about the score. If it's a bad day, there's no means to get angry about it because sometimes it's a privilege to be on the course. But I usually take means to it. I always have a sense of committing to a shot. That's what I think around the course. So.
Shouldn't worry about the score. I can get down to that. That sounds like something I should embrace. Yeah. So, away from talking about yourself, how have you seen the team develop early on, and what have you thought from the early portions of the year so far?
I've seen a lot of improvement with the team. A couple players here and there still have some work, but this past weekend with the qualifying, I've seen a lot of improvement out of some players. And hopefully this upcoming tournament in Destin, Florida, we're going to have a good, strong team coming in there. And I hope for some good things down there. So.
And talking about the team overall, what was it about the program and the University of Lynchburg overall that made you decide, hey, I want to be a Hornet?
The coach watched me in a tournament one time right here at the home course at Boonesboro, and we got to talking, and he just seemed like a cool coach to, be around for a while. And I, started seeing a team on early in the summer and starting to meet them here and there, and then they're just felt like I could hang out with these guys. I could be a team member, I felt like I could be a good team with them, a good team member.
Yeah, for sure. And you talked about Coach Viverica. Coach V, I don't necessarily know how I would describe him, but I asked Emily last week how she would best describe him. She got there, and she said a bunch of nice things, of course, but Coach V is just one of those very interesting guys. He's really easy to talk to. He's really funny. How would you best describe Coach Viverica?
I say he's a grinder. I say he's got a chip in his shoulder all the time. He wants the team to do better all the time, and I see him as he always wants us to work hard, even work harder than the others sometimes, be out there till dark, working in practice, putting or hitting drives, stuff like that. He just wants us to see improve all the time. And I say he's just, he's a grinder overall, and he's such a good guy to be with. And a coach, he's a very good coach as well. So
that's awesome. And let me ask you a little something that's a little tough maybe to answer. But so obviously y'all practice at Boonesboro, like you just said. And that course may vary very differently compared to playing at the Bridgewater Invitational, the Royal Lakes Oglethorpe Invitational this past weekend. What are some of the challenges you face as a golfer where you're practicing at one course throughout a week and then over a weekend and then carrying over into Monday, Tuesday, you're seeing something completely different and maybe for the first time?
Yeah, that's a part of game of golf that people don't understand, that you're not playing on the same field like soccer or football or basketball. Sure. You got every hole's different. I mean, every shot's going to be different. Every hole location's going to be different. Every grass, it's just one of the main fundamentals of the game is understanding how you can quickly adapt to a new course and how you can play well on the course. So.
And then how much do you rely on maybe some scouting reports from the women's team? I was talking to Emily, and she made note at Bridgewater that men's golf team members were giving them some scouting reports, telling her how the greens playing, all those sorts of elements. Are y'all giving each other those helpful notes as you guys go along?
Yeah, we'll give some hints sometimes. It depends on the day, But if we're playing the same course, we'll give all their yardage book notes, everything ups and downs of the course, what not to do and what to do. So, that's part of, being a team. You got to be a good team member, help each other out.
Yeah, for sure. And you talked about the reason you came to Lynchburg. You felt like you could fit in with the team. And, I mean, between the men's and women's programs, I don't know if there necessarily is a program that is more tight-knit than men's to women's golf. Maybe men's and women's tennis is right there with it.
Yeah.
But you got to talk about that camaraderie that those two teams share.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're obviously, I feel like we're one team in all because we're always practicing together.
Sure.
And we always, outside of practice, we always, have dinner together, hang out sometimes. I mean, I don't feel like this whole team's like girls and boys, like we're really bonded well together. So
that's awesome. And just a couple more questions before I let you go. So early on, we talked about it's still your first semester. What have been some of the things you've most appreciated about the university in the early goings?
I would say the food.
Speaking like an 18-year-old.
I mean, I can down some meals sometimes. I'm always the first one to finish when eating. It's hilarious. We'll be at Texas Roadhouse, and as soon as the plate's down, my food is gone immediately, and people are like, Eddie, how'd you finish that so fast? But no, the food's good. I really appreciate just the hospitality here in general. I mean, it's so friendly, and I felt like if I went to a D1 college, I wouldn't receive this hospitality I was at a D1 college. I mean, everybody knows each other here, and it's a good thing because in most D1 colleges nobody knows everybody and it's a mess. But here's everybody knows everybody. It's more organized and it's just it's kind of laid back sometimes. You don't have to worry about big things happening. So
for sure.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to ask you, this is a tough one to ask golfers because it's both individual and team based. But what are some of your hopes, expectations you've set for yourself and the team overall throughout the rest of the fall, and then again when we see you back out on the course this spring?
Mm-hmm. Mentally wise, I plan myself to be a little more confident in myself because confidence is one of my major hardships I had in golf and in life as well. I mean, it's just once I have the confidence, if I'm having a good run, a good rhythm going, a couple holes, like I want that confidence to stay with me through the rest of the tournament.
Sure.
That's one thing I really want to work on throughout the rest of the fall and through the winter and through the spring. Hopefully improve on that. And then I just expect myself to just not give up at all and just keep grinding through it and just keep getting ODAC Player of the Week and probably winning a couple tournaments here and there. So.
Well, I'm excited to see what you do throughout the rest of your freshman year, and the better you play, the better the program plays as a whole, and then we all look good, and we're all happy about that. So, Eddie, thank you so much for spending some time with me today.
Thank you very much.
And thank you all for listening to this episode of the Hive Podcast. Be sure to come back next week for a new episode, but until then, we are signing off.